Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Conroy, and thank you to all y'all out there who are joining me to learn a little bit more about my community here at Johns Hopkins University. Like Conroy mentioned, my name is Maria Teresa Foster, and I am one of our admissions committee members here at Johns Hopkins. So I'm very grateful to be with you all, and thank you for spending part of your evening with me. So during our conversation, I'm going to be spending our time together really focusing in on three different parts of the Hopkins experience, which are going to be first and foremost our academic culture here. So talking a little bit about our liberal arts-based curriculum and really how it enables our students to take what they're learning inside of the classroom and apply it in a real world way through things like research, studying abroad, and internship opportunities. But then we're going to talk a little bit about student life. Our students really take ownership over their experiences here at Hopkins. The students that really are the best match for Hopkins are students that are strong initiators and strong impactors. And then I'll spend some time before our Q&A going into our admissions and financial aid process. So without further ado, I'll jump into it. So Johns Hopkins University was founded in 1876 as the first research university in the United States. And so this is something that's really at the core of who we are as an institution. And it really is a huge part of our culture here at Hopkins. And so we were founded in Baltimore City, Maryland, which is about an hour or so north of Washington, D.C., which is the capital here in the U.S., and about an hour and a half south of Philadelphia, around 4 hours to New York City. And so as an undergraduate student, many of our domestic resources for students are going to be in the greater Baltimore and DC areas. Resources such as our School of Nursing, our Carey School of Business, our Schools of Advanced International Studies, which has a campus in Washington, DC, and then one in China and one in Italy. But really at the core of your undergraduate experience is going to take place on our Homewood campus, which is home to 5,300 undergraduate students who will be taking classes in our Krieger School of Arts and Sciences and our Widening School of Engineering. And so on this next slide, I just have some pictures of what the campus looks like. And so we are located in northern Baltimore City. And so what's really cool about our campus and something that I really appreciate is that not only do we very much have an urban and city feel to our campus because we are in the city, but we very much still have that collegiate feel to the campus. We have the brick buildings, we have the marble pathways, we have all four seasons. So it's really cool to not only have your campus community, but also be a citizen of Baltimore. Baltimore is a leading city in the US for entrepreneurship and innovation. And so for many of our students, they will have multiple pre-professional experiences, including 85% will utilize internships as well. So that's a little bit about our Homewood campus, but I did mention that we're definitely going to talk about our academic culture here at Hopkins. And so although we were founded as the US's first research university, we were also founded on this philosophy of the liberal arts. The liberal arts looks a little bit different here. And what I mean by that is that we really focus our approach to education on academic freedom and academic flexibility. And so when you apply to Johns Hopkins, you don't apply into a particular major or undergraduate school unless you are applying to our biomedical engineering major, which if you have any questions about, definitely let Conrad know and we can discuss that. Nevertheless, for the vast majority of our students, they have been up until the end of their sophomore year for our students in our Krieger School of Arts and Sciences to declare a major, or at the end of their first year if they want to pursue an engineering major. However, for all of our students, they would be taking classes across our university in our curriculum, which we call the distribution credit system. So regardless of a student's majors, their minors, their double majors, around 60% of our students will have double majors or multiple minors. They will be taking classes across different academic disciplines. And as they are doing that, they're working with advisors to help them craft a four-year curriculum that matches their unique interests and their unique goals. So for example, for someone who's interested in fulfilling their humanities credit, they could take a literature course, they could take a bioethics course. And so there's a lot of different variety into which courses fulfill which credits. And so again, it's really gives you the autonomy to select the courses that most interest you. Other things to know about our academic experience here is that Because we are a community of 5,300, your classes are going to be very small. And so 74% of our classes will have fewer than 20 students in them. We have a 7-to-1 student faculty ratio. And so it means that not only are you actively collaborating with your professors, who are really some of the leading researchers and teachers in the world. We have multiple connections to multiple Nobel laureates, leading researchers across our professional schools. And so they're really eager to partner with you and collaborate. But inside of those classrooms, you will be collaborating with your fellow peers. You're going to be collaborating with students that are outside of your major. So it really enables you to have those interdisciplinary conversations, but also think about your work in a really real world and holistic way. And what I mean by that is learning just doesn't take stay in the classroom. Those conversations don't stay in your classroom. But here at Hopkins, you really are encouraged to apply what you're learning in that real world context. And so the 3 ways that our students engage in those experiences, I'm sorry, you may be hearing my dog Layla, she says hello, are through research, internships, and studying abroad. My apologies, y'all. She says hello. And so among the research internships and studying abroad that our students will pursue, 98% of them will have some kind of pre-professional experience. And so that first lens that we think about internships. So 85% of our students will engage in some kind of internship experience. And so for our students, again, my apologies, y'all. Baltimore is really a hub on the East Coast for internships. I am so sorry, Layla, please stop. I am so sorry, sincerely. Nevertheless, internships are internships for our students in Baltimore, we're a city for entrepreneurship and innovation. And so for our students, they really have access to opportunities through Under Armour, T. Rowe Price, Black & Decker. I am so sorry. I'm just going to mute myself real fast. Thank you all for your patience. I sincerely apologize about that. So internships, as I mentioned, 85% of them will pursue some kind of internship experience during their time here. Not only are they having access to internships here in Baltimore City through organizations like T. Rowe Price and Black & Decker, Under Armour, and some really internationally known organizations, but because of our close proximity to Washington, D.C., many students, particularly those who are interested in economics, political science, public policy, are utilizing our access to Washington, D.C. for internships in Washington, D.C., but also globally because of Hopkins' global network. In addition to internships, around 80% of our students will engage in some kind of research experience. And as I mentioned, research is really at the core of who we are as an institution. And so research is happening in every single capacity within our Hopkins network. And so annually we invest $2.56 billion in just research opportunities for our students. And so how undergraduate students access that is through resources such as our Hopkins Office for Undergraduate Research, which really partners with students to help them identify opportunities within our Hopkins network for research in their interest areas, or through independent grant programming. So if there's a curiosity or a question you have about the world, we have the resources to support you as you pursue that. In addition to research, the third way that our students really engage in applying what they're learning inside of the classroom in a real world way is through studying abroad. And so for many of our students, that means that regardless if they're a pre-med student, an engineer, a double major, they have the opportunity to pursue a global experience through studying abroad. And so as you all are thinking about all of these opportunities with research, internships, and global experiences, it really shows that Hopkins has access to those large school opportunities, but also to small school support. So we have the large school opportunities with the $2.56 billion research investment, the entirety of the Hopkins network, but also the resources that you're seeing on your screen right now, such as our Center for Social Concern, our Life Design Lab, our pre-professional advising office, to really help students as they navigate their journey here through the Hopkins network. And so one of the things that would be remiss of me if I didn't talk a little bit more about is our community here in Baltimore. And so here at Hopkins, we are located, as I mentioned, in Baltimore City, Maryland. And so Baltimore, not only as a Hopkins student, do you have access to, being a member of our Blue Jay community, but you also become a citizen of Baltimore. I mentioned a few minutes ago that the students that are the happiest at Hopkins are really the students that make an impact, students that are going to show initiative, because our students really take ownership over their experiences that they have here at Hopkins. And they do that through their 400 plus student organizations, ranging from pre-professional programming, such as our Society of Women Engineers, to Mock Trial, Model UN, a lot of athletic organizations, to cultural and religious-based organizations. And so students are really making an impact in finding community through those organizations. And so as our students are planning the events for our campus, they're also planning events for Baltimore. So for many students and their organizations, they engage with our community in Baltimore through different service events, or participating in different programs in the city, or just enjoying the city. One of the resources that Hopkins has for students who want to be civically engaged is our Center for Social Concern. And so they run some of the largest programming that we have here in Baltimore City for things like education access and food equity, just to name a few. And so if you're someone who's interested in those programs, there's a lot of great opportunities for students to get involved with our Center for Social Concern, get involved through their student organizations, but also get involved through some really unique internship programs. And so, as I mentioned, Baltimore is definitely going to be at your home for at least 4 years. And so we wanted to share a little bit more about it. And so what you're seeing on your screen right now are just a few of our neighborhoods. Baltimore is home to 200 plus unique neighborhoods. And so what you're seeing on the top left, so it looks like a train station with a very large person. That's Penn Station. That's about 10 minutes from our campus. So if you're going down to DC, going up to Philadelphia, going up to New York, that is a really great resource for our students. The bottom picture is our Inner Harbor area, which is the downtown area, where we have a lot of professional sports teams will play, and we have a lot of great student discounts for students if you want to go to some baseball games, football games, but it's also a great place for any seafood. The top right is our National Aquarium that we have here. And so if you're someone who's interested in particular in marine biology, they have a lot of great internships for our Hopkins students. Another resource that I really like to point out for students as they're thinking about Baltimore and our location is that we have access to multiple international airports. Around 25 minutes from our campus, we have Baltimore Washington International as well. And so that is very accessible to our campus. As I mentioned, we have those 200 plus neighborhoods, and each one of them very much has its own unique feel to it, its own unique character. And so some of the things that those neighborhoods are more broadly known for are things like we have a lot of green space in Baltimore. We have 200 plus parks, 60 trails. We're known for the arts. We have multiple free museums and concert venues. We actually have the Baltimore Museum of Art essentially on our campus. And so if you're someone who just loves the arts, or you're someone who's more interested in the academic study of art history, that is a great resource for our students. Some of the neighborhoods that our students love to hang out in are neighborhoods like Hamden, which is about a 10-minute walk from our campus. They have a lot of restaurants that are to Baltimore. Baltimore is a huge foodie city. We're very much an international city. So we have a great international cuisines here within our city. And so there's a lot of opportunity to explore through your stomach. Nevertheless, Baltimore is really a space where our students are really becoming citizens, not only for their 4 years here, but really having a place in their hearts for a lifetime. So as I mentioned, some of the resources as students really navigate their experiences here at Hopkins is going to be our Life Design Lab. And so our Life Design Lab works really one-on-one with students as they navigate their experiences that they're having here at Hopkins. And so they start working with students in their first year to help them identify career paths that are the best match for their interests and for their goals. They also connect our students to our powerful alumni network through things like career advising and career academies, where they work really closely with our Hopkins network and our alumni alumni network around focused experiences, whether it be for arts, media, and marketing, finance, the health sciences. And so another resource that our students work really closely with is our pre-professional advising office. I know some of y'all had some questions around medicine. And so for our students that are interested in pursuing medicine or law school, we have a separate office called our pre-professional advising office, where they work with students to help prepare them for medical school success throughout their 4 years at Hopkins and for law school success. And so for any student at Hopkins, regardless of their major or their minor, they have the opportunity to prepare for medical school success by being on this advising track. So for example, you could be a romance languages major or a philosophy major and be preparing for medical school, because in that track, you have a separate advisor to ensure that you're taking all of the right classes to prepare for medical school exams and medical school's admissions process. Our acceptance rate into medical school is 80%, and our acceptance rate into law schools is over 90%. So our students are really successful through those admissions processes. The next shot that we have here is just a bird's eye view of what our students are doing 6 months after graduation. And so, as I mentioned, I know we're coming close to that 20-30 minute mark before we go into y'all's questions. And so some things to know about applying to Hopkins is for those of y'all who are interested in first year admissions, we offer 3 different deadlines. We offer an early decision round 1 and a early decision round 2 and a regular decision round. You can apply via the Common application or the Coalition for College application. And so the differences here at Hopkins between early decision and regular decision is that early decision is a binding commitment. And so as you work with your counselors, your caregivers, your family to identify the schools that are the best match for you academically, socially, and financially, if you see Hopkins as that best match school, early decision is really a great opportunity for you. And the reason for that is it's the first time that you can be considered for a seat in our highly competitive class. And so having the opportunity to have all of the seats open in the class is a really great opportunity for those students who identify Hopkins as that best match school. However, we do offer regular decision, which is a non-binding round. So if you're curious around Hopkins and other institutions, that may be a strong route to take. And so as you are having those conversations around what round is the best to apply for you and your unique situation, I encourage you to check out some of our financial aid resources. I'll drop a link in the chat for some of our international financial aid. And so here at Hopkins, we are need blind for U.S. citizens, U.S. permanent residents, DACA, and undocumented students. However, for students, regardless of their citizenship status, we do guarantee to meet 100% of demonstrated need for all of our students whom we admit. And so for those students, we want to responsibly, again, I'm so sorry, y'all, about the dog. For those students, we do guarantee to meet 100% of all demonstrated need. I know there were some questions from students around some scholarships. And so how the scholarship selection process works here at Hopkins is that it's not a separate application. Rather, during our holistic review, our committee will consider every single applicant for all of our scholarship opportunities. So it's not a separate application that you have to do on your end. And should you be awarded a scholarship, you will be notified at the time of admission around what that may look like for you. And so this next slide just kind of gives a bird's eye view again of some of those resources. So as before we go into more Q&A, I just wanted to briefly give you all some insights into our admissions process. So at Hopkins, for all of our students, all of our applicants, we conduct holistic application reviews. So we're going to be thinking about the entirety of your application. And as we're thinking about the entirety of your application and really your journey through your academic experience, we're going to be thinking about it through 3 different lenses. And those lenses are academic character, impact and initiative, and overall match. And so that first lens of academic character, we'll be thinking about your academic profile. So thinking about how you've challenged yourself within the context of the available opportunities at your place of learning. For our students who are currently going going to apply this fall. We have extended our test optional policy. We recognize that the pandemic has presented a lot of challenges to testing access and just simply testing. And so with that being said, we remain test optional, and we are truly test optional. For students who do not submit testing, they are not penalized in any way, shape, or form through our review. So if you have access to testing and you would like to submit that, you may do so. However, we are test optional this year. Additionally, we'll look at the students' letters of recommendation. We require 3, 1 from a guidance counselor and 2 from academic teachers. And we really utilize those to get a better sense of who you are in the classroom, how you developed your intellectual capacities. But we'll also be thinking about your letters of recommendation when it comes to building our community, really thinking about the impact and initiative. And so those letters really give us some insights into who you are as a community member. Additionally, we'll be looking at your extracurricular involvement and your essays. When you are crafting your extracurricular involvement and sharing that with us, be very inclusive of what you share with us, whether that be family responsibilities that you've had, things that you do in your free time, or impacts that you may be having culturally or religiously, because it will all help us get a better view of what's important to you and where you invest your time. Your essays are another great space where we'll be thinking about your impact and initiative, because it's really the only time during the application process that you get to talk directly to our admissions committee. So really utilize your personal statement and our Johns Hopkins supplemental essay to learn a little bit, to help us learn a little bit more about you, your interests, and your impacts. And so with that being said, all of those pieces really come together to help our committee better identify the students who are the best match for our institution. Some resources that I will share with you are our college planning toolkit. We host a lot of great programming through our college planning toolkit, such as essay workshops, virtual events. We're doing a whole portfolio this summer around different programming specifically for students going through this process from international outside of the US. And so I encourage you to check that out. And then some great ways to stay connected to us are the resources that you see here. And so thank you all for listening to me and for your patience around all the background noises. And I sincerely appreciate y'all. And so Conroy, I know we have some great questions. Some of y'all already shared some with me and I can go over those, but what are you seeing on your side? And again, thank you all for sharing them with me.
Thank you so much, Maria. So we have around 30 minutes, guys, for Q&A. So that's great news, actually. If you have any questions, then please either direct them to everyone in the chat or you can directly message me and I'll just read it out anonymously. So actually, first, I'll stop the recording.